Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a very different video to the ones I've been doing recently. It's not going to be funny, it's not going to be fun in any way, it's going to be serious. So 2020 I feel like has been such a shit show of a year. Horrible things have been happening this year, may it be the COVID-19 outbreak, the elections, our political leaders doing things that aren't in the best interests of the people. I could go on. There's a lot of shitty things going on in the world right now, and this for me really takes the cake as the shittiest thing going on right now, 100%. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm not just some funny host that's on YouTube doing entertaining videos. I do have a bachelor's degree in international relations. I've studied international law, so I do know what I'm talking about when I say these things. I'd like to think of myself as a racial and political activist. You guys know, if you've seen my top 10 videos, that I have no problem talking about my political beliefs, my political views, what I think is right and wrong. Obviously, I try not to shove my view down anyone's throat, because that's not what I'm trying to do, but at the same time I do believe in what I believe and I'm not shy in talking about it. So I feel like this is a situation that I've wanted to talk about for what seems like a year now, so I'm both annoyed at myself for not doing this sooner, but also I'm glad that I'm at least getting to it now, because it's better late than never. As a Muslim myself, this is something that's just very personal to me, and it hits home in a way that's just a bit too real. Minorities have been persecuted against since the dawn of time, it feels, whether it's police officers having prejudices against people of color, the amount of racism there was against Asians, specifically the Chinese, since the COVID-19 outbreak, and of course the 100 Muslims being randomly checked 89 times at the airport. I could go on. I have been that person. Now, Islamophobia has been rife since 9/11, and understandably so. It was an Islamist terrorist group that were behind it, but that doesn't represent all of us, and it never has. But even still, that hasn't stopped half the world from thinking that any Muslim could be, or probably is, a terrorist. So where am I going with this exactly? What happened to Jewish people during the Holocaust was one of the worst human rights events in history. It was horrible what happened, and the world saw that we would never let another Holocaust happen again, yet it is right under our noses and no one is doing anything about it. For the past few years, the Chinese government has detained at least 1 million to 2 million people from the Uyghur Muslim minority in concentration camps, or how they've labeled them, re-education centers. There's a literal cultural genocide of the Uyghurs going on right now, and no one is doing anything. Let's wake up, people, and do something about it. Here is what you need to know. So who are the Uyghurs? Now, the Uyghurs are a minority ethnic group who live in Central and East Asia, with the majority of their population residing in China's biggest administrative region, Xinjiang. Now, they speak Turkic and recognize themselves as native, whereas the Chinese government does not. Xinjiang has gone between being an autonomous region, meaning they control themselves, to being under Chinese control for years, but it's been under their control since 1949. Now, obviously, as a Muslim minority, Islam is a huge part of their identity and culture, meaning a lot of them wear the hijab or grow long beards. But as I mentioned before, the post 9/11 Islamophobia spared no country whatsoever, because since the event, China has portrayed Uyghur separatists as auxiliaries of Al-Qaeda, going as far as to say they had received training in Afghanistan, which there is no evidence of. The government has even monetarily incentivized Uyghur couples to have fewer kids and for their women to marry outside of their culture. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like they want to erase their identity altogether. The government is now targeting the population for re-education because they believe they hold extremist views that threaten the security of the country. This view came about due to the violent campaigns the group carried out in the name of independence, like street protests, sabotage, riots, and the 2011-2014 bomb knife and car bomb attacks. Now, I'm not going to say any of that was pretty, because it wasn't. In 2009, the Uyghurs invoked a large-scale ethnic riot in the capital, which resulted in 200 deaths, most of which were Han Chinese. But the tension only rose to that level for various reasons that span decades. So, time to travel back in history. History in contention. Now, during the 1990s, Uyghurs were targeted during security crackdowns and would have their organs harvested while being imprisoned. Back in 2005, the state said Uyghurs should not have to build new places for religious activities, despite there only being one mosque for every 503 practicing Muslims. Now, between 2016 and 2018, the government had demolished and razed a 6 of the mosques and shrines around the region, and even passed a law banning women from wearing hijabs or any kind of veils and men from growing long beards. President Xi Jinping himself stated that religions in China must be Chinese in orientation and that they have to adapt themselves to socialist society. I didn't realize being Muslim was such a threat to the socialist regime, but evidently it is. In 2014, students were banned from fasting during the holy month of Ramadan or even attending mosques. Then the next year, in 2015, they created a list of banned baby names for ethnic minorities, and the list included things like Islam, Quran, Jihad, and Mecca. I mean, last time I checked, no Muslim is rushing to call their kid Jihad. Have some respect. But the point I'm trying to make in saying all of this is that the plight against diminishing their rights started way before the camps were even a thing. Xinjiang as a province had been doing extremely well economically for a few years, and so the government was incentivizing a Han Chinese majority to move into Xinjiang. And when they did, all the jobs were automatically going to them, not the Uyghurs, and their farmland started being confiscated for redevelopment. Now, I'm not excusing their violent behavior by any means, I'm just saying there's no fire without a spark. Within a few years, the majority of Uyghurs had now become the minority, and their cultural activities had been diminished by the Chinese state. Bilingual education was forced in the region, with most of the instruction done in Mandarin and only a few hours a week dedicated to Uyghur literature. That doesn't sound like a 50-50 split to me, and guess what? They weren't happy about it, and rightfully so. Who would be? The government has literally come down like Big Brother on this minority group by covering the region with surveillance from police checkpoints to cameras that scan number plates and faces. By 2018, Chinese public servants were doing mandatory homestays with Uyghur families to help them assimilate. Despite living in China for centuries, the government was accused of exaggerating the threat they posed just to justify the horrible treatment and oppression of the Uyghurs, and I 100% agree with that sentiment. So what is happening right now in present times? The Chinese government literally denied the camps even existed until satellite pictures surfaced of the camp construction with barbed wire fences and watchtowers. They went so far to try and hide this that China's UK ambassador Liu Xiaoming said any reports of the concentration camps were fake. Millions of Uyghurs had been kidnapped, interrogated, beaten up, and then detained just for being Muslim. There is rampant abuse going on in there. A young Uyghur mother who had been detained 3 times said she was drugged and interrogated days before being jolted repeatedly in an electric chair. If that wasn't horrendous enough, she was also told that being a Uyghur is a crime. Another report from another detainee said they would be forced to wear iron clothes which weighed about 50 pounds until their spirit broke. They're being forcibly sterilized and brainwashed. Detainees have to memorize a list of 126 lies about religion, which included you must believe in no religion, you must believe in the Communist Party. They'd also have to sing songs about Xi Jinping before being allowed food, for God's sake. Victims inside have no contact with their families on the outside. Their families don't even know if their relatives are alive. Many of them are killed in the camps and buried without even a call. Well, I'm saying buried generously, they're probably not buried. Kids whose parents have been detained are being sent to orphanages and taught to forget their roots. The people inside these camps have never once been charged with any crime, and not a single one was able to contact or have any legal representation. But honestly, when the case is victim versus the Republic of China, we know what the outcome is going to be. So what is being done? Not enough, I can tell you that much. Media outlets are too busy covering petty local crimes and shoving the US election down people's throats that massive human rights violations like this are just going under the radar. People are not speaking about this issue enough. Sure, I'll see a post about the genocide once every few months on Twitter, and that's about it. Nearly 2 million people have been detained. Believe me when I say 4 retweets are not going to do anything. Now, you may be wondering, okay, if this is an international crisis, what about the UN? What are they doing? And yeah, I mean, sure, in 2019, during the 41st session of the United States Human Rights Council, 22 countries issued a joint letter condemning China's actions, which is fantastic. But within the same session, 50 other countries supported China's policies. The score was 50 to 22 nations who were in favor of China doing all this. And I've said it and I will say it again, this is a gross human rights violation, and the UN is just sitting by while a genocide is taking place, just like in Rwanda, just like in Myanmar, and just like the illegal invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. I guess lives don't really matter to the international peacekeeping body unless the lives being lost are in the West and not the East. So after all that is said and done, what can we do? Now here's the part I'm really hoping you guys stuck around for. I'm gonna link all the resources I'm about to mention in the description box below, so you'll find them all there, and I will link extra ones as well in case you want to check them out as well as all my sources for the video will be in the description box as well. Change only comes, you guys, from a call to action. We as a human population need to put pressure on the Chinese government to stop this once and for all. There should be international ramifications for all the human rights violations they are doing, but there are not. Why? Because it's China. They're used to it. They know it happens. Now the first resource I want to talk about is this petition, so please sign this petition to free Uyghurs from forced labor and help it reach 50,000 signatures so we can finally call on the Chinese government to stop this slavery. Obviously you can donate if you'd like to, but I know that's not in everyone's capabilities, but signing definitely is. It literally takes a minute. The second resource I want to talk about is boycotting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics with the slogan, "No rights, no games." Everyone deserves rights no matter what religion they follow. It is so inappropriate for an international sporting event to be taking place mere miles away from Uyghurs detained in concentration camps. How are you going to guiltlessly watch the games knowing full well there are people suffering and being tortured right there? And finally, the last resource I want to talk about is boycotting the new live-action Mulan. And I know, I'm sure you guys really wanted to watch it and it was one of your favorite Disney movies as a child, but this is bigger than all of us, you guys. Now, in the credits of the movie, Disney publicly thanks multiple Chinese government agencies for helping make the movie. Those same agencies have been accused of the gross human rights abuses against the Uyghurs. So raise your voice, tweet about it, put it on your Instagram story, share it with all your friends. Do not watch the movie and give money to companies that think entertainment is more important than people's lives. This is Disney. I feel like that's something Disney even taught us. And that is it for today's video, guys. I know I was quite heated throughout this whole video, but it's just because this cause is so close to my heart as a Muslim myself. I can't tell you how many times I've been talked to differently or treated differently because I'm Muslim. Not even Muslim, because I'm brown, because I'm South Asian, whatever the hell. Like, there's so many diverse things about me that people use against me. And not just me, everyone around the world. Diversity is our strength, like Justin Trudeau said. I'm not supporting him by any means, but I'm just saying he has a point. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and please share this with everyone you know. I would really appreciate that a lot if you guys could do that. And make sure to subscribe to me and like the video, leave a comment on what you think. I just wanted to let you know, I know I've been attacking China this whole video, but I'm not anti-Chinese by any means at all. I really do actually like the culture. I'm very interested in it. I've studied the socialist regime. I've studied the history of China's democracy or lack thereof. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not anti-Chinese. I don't hate Chinese people at all. This is just an issue that needs to be taken care of ASAP. Thank you for watching, you guys. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye!